On tribal land along U.S.-Mexico border, drug and human smuggling corrupts a culture. From a distance, the border looks peaceful. Just some rusted, but look closer, and the rugged landscape between the United States and Mexico starts to bustle with activity. The silent spinning, in Arizona, southwest of Tucson, lies the Tejano Udam Nation, the third largest Native American reservation in the United States, and home to one of the busiest smuggling corridors in North America. The Tejano Udam, buffeted by powerful forces on both sides of the border and corrupted by complicity, some leaders fear that the crisis facing their nation is an existential one. "We're killing our own people," David Garcia, a tribal elder, told ABC News. "We have to do something. And if we don't do it..." Over the course of a year-long investigation, ABC News traveled to both Arizona and Mexico to conduct interviews with law enforcement officials, cartel soldiers, and tribal members on both sides of the border, compiling a detailed portrait of the Tejano Udam Nation and the challenges it faces, airing Thursday on Nightline. Amid a fierce national debate over border security driven by President Donald Trump's persistent calls to build a wall between the United States and Mexico, it is clear at least that this little-known ancient civilization is caught in the crossfire, leaving its people frustrated and fearful. "I worry for my grandchildren," Jay Juan, a pastor in the reservation's largest town, Cells, told ABC News. "I worry for all the..." Standing on Babacavari Peak, one of the most sacred places to the Tejano Udam, tribal elder Garcia revealed a harsh truth about the people he was chosen to lead. "It's no secret," Garcia said, "that a lot of our tribal members are involved in the smuggling of migrants and drugs. The Sinaloa cartel, one of the world's most powerful criminal enterprises, has taken advantage of endemic poverty on the reservation," he said, hiring tribal members as spotters, stash house operators, and transporters. Garcia's nephew Matthias lives in an area of Mexico that operates as a staging ground for much of the cartel's cross-border smuggling. Stores cater to Matthias would be a prized collaborator, because his tribal status allows him to cross the border freely, but he refused the cartel's latest offer. "Someone from one of the groups asked me if I could drive a truck with a hidden compartment onto the reservation and drop it off," Matthias told ABC News. "And they were willing to." For many tribal members on the reservation, where more than 40% of people are living below the poverty line, the temptation is too great. "Whether it's my house or whichever house, you couldn't go very far without finding another house where someone's either been arrested, is involved, or has been involved in that type of activity," Pastor Juan told ABC News. "It shouldn't be that way." Juan knows how the enticement of easy money can lead to trouble. He used to run "I know personally, when you go down that road and then you're caught, then you carry this thing called a felony around for the rest of your life," Juan said. That, in its, Matt Hall, the supervisory special agent for an Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE task force that operates on the Tejano Udam Nation, knows the problem is a complex one. He started his career. "I think that there is a very deep-rooted involvement in smuggling. I think that it's gone. That balance is, to say the least, delicate, and the significant federal presence on the reservation feels to some like an occupation, creating deep resentment among tribal members." Ofelia Rivas, for example, has lived just a few hundred yards from the border her entire life, and she said her community feels trapped by the Mexican cartel on one side and U.S. law enforcement on the other. "We are under siege," Rivas told ABC News. "We're always under..." She has endured harassment by border agents who believed that she was an illegal immigrant, she said, but Trump's proposed border wall would be intolerable. "They're proposing this wall, it's gonna be right here in my backyard," Rivas said. "And it's gonna force..." Many tribal members fear a wall would succeed only in further dividing their ancestral lands without addressing the systemic problems that make the widespread cartel cooperation on the reservation possible. After all, according to Verlin Jose, vice chairman of the nation's tribal government, there's more than enough complicity to go around. The border security issues that we face are not created by the Tohono O'odham Nation, Jose told ABC News. Maybe there are some of. John Carlos Frey is a 5-time Emmy Award-winning journalist who specializes in coverage of the U.S.-Mexico border. ABC News' Dylan Goetz and Jinsal Young contributed to this report.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.